Hey guys, it's Lego Boys E3. These are the top 5 easiest WCA events. So here we are, here are the top 5 events in the World Cube Association that I believe are the easiest to solve. So starting off, we have a pretty simple one. I mean, it's not that simple, it's actually by far the hardest one on this list, but it is definitely the most popular one. The 3x3. Now you may be thinking, wait a minute, a 3x3 Rubik's Cube isn't particularly easy. But if you actually go through and look at the 18 WCA events, there aren't actually a whole lot of really easy ones. I mean, most of them are like 3x3 variations, or just things that are bigger than a 3x3, like 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, 7x7, things like Pyraminx, or even like one-handed, or with feet, or FMC blindfolded. So when it really comes down to it, these are the 4 easy ones, then you have kind of a gap, and then you have the 3x3. I mean, it's not particularly easy, but it's not really particularly hard. I mean, the cross you can do with no algorithms, you can pretty much do the corners with no algorithms. The edges, they use a few algorithms, then you have to orient things with an algorithm. I'd say maybe 3 or 4 for most beginners last layer methods, and so in total that's probably like 5 or 6 algorithms total, which isn't really that bad. I mean, if you think about learning something like full OLL or PLL, it's way more than that, and most of the algorithms in the beginner's method are way easier than those algorithms too. Now, having fewer algorithms doesn't necessarily mean that a puzzle or method is easier. I'd say that the easiest way to solve this cube is definitely the beginner's method, but I think if you were to go down to it, you could probably make a method that's really confusing, but only uses like 1 or 2 algorithms total, something like a blind method. Now on to the next one is literally just a step down from the 3x3, it's the 2x2. Now this one I'd say is definitely significantly easier than the 3x3. You could probably do the first layer with no algorithms, just like intuitively moving pieces around, and then the last layer could be like 2 algorithms, probably 2 pretty easy algorithms even. So much like the 3x3, I would say that the optimum way of solving this cube in terms of algorithms would just have 1 algorithm, but the easiest way of solving it definitely has like 2 or 3. A fairly interesting thing about this cube though, compared to these 3 when we're talking about the WCA, is that if you look at the world record single and average times, it's actually well below any of these other cubes. So the single and average times on these are below any other WCA event. I'd say that that mostly has to do with ergonomics, like it's very easy to just pick up a 2x2 like this and start turning, as compared to something like a Pyraminx where you have to like awkwardly turn different sides at different angles. It's just very easy to do that and just solve a whole solve in just one orientation like that. Also, this cube just has a lot more expandability when it comes to algorithms. You can just learn so many different types of algorithms, just make so many different types of subsets in this cube. It's insane. Next up, we have an interesting cube that you might not have thought of. It is the clock. Now this cube doesn't require any algorithms whatsoever. It is a little bit trickier to solve than these ones though, which is why it's up in 3rd place. Basically, this puzzle is a super simple puzzle to solve. I'd say it's definitely the simplest WCA puzzle of them all. It's not quite as easy as these two though, because it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around it when you first learn it, but once you do first learn it, it is pretty easy. Again, the concept is a little hard and it might make you think that it has a bunch of different steps to it, like solving this one, then this one, 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 this one. But when it really comes down to it, it's just very simple, and there's just one like fundamental way of solving the entire thing. And the reason that it takes so much longer to solve than the one before it, based on world record times, it's only a little bit faster than the 3x3, which is pretty insane. It's just because of the ergonomics of it, like pushing pins up and down and like doing this, as compared to a 2x2 where you just pick up a cube and put it back down. So yeah, ergonomics are weird, it's kind of a little bit hard to understand at first, and you pretty much just have to solve every single clock individually, which just makes it take quite a bit longer than the one before it, but I'd say that in terms of easiness, this one is definitely 3rd place. Next up, 2nd place on this list is the Skewb. So far in terms of algorithms, I would say 5 or 6, 2 or 3, 0, and maybe 0 to 1, depending on how you look at this one. Same thing with the one coming up next. Again, I don't really think that can be a measure of easiness, more of just like simplicity once you've already learned the puzzle. Now this one, of course, only requires 0 to 1 algorithms. I mean, I'd say the only real algorithm is a sledgehammer that you have to use to solve it, which is only 4 moves. So you can hardly count it an algorithm, but it kind of is. You pretty much just do one layer intuitively, then you kind of do memorized sequences of sledgehammers, just in different orders, from different angles, for different cases, for the whole rest of the cube. So it can't get much easier than that, until you get to the final cube on this list, the Pyraminx. Now, I've talked about this one a lot in my last easiest cubes videos. Like I've said before, once you solve the centers and the tips of this cube, which basically just involves turning them a single time, you can do the rest of the cube with just commutators, which is pretty much just moving a piece into place, moving it out of the way, and undoing those 2 moves. So not really an algorithm, it's just kind of doing 4 moves. It's always different depending on which piece you're putting and where you're putting it. So I'd say it's harder to consider that an algorithm than you could a sledgehammer. But basically you just do that with the entire cube, all the edges, until they're all into place. The only tricky thing that you can get occasionally is 2 flipped edges like this, and you can just do that by messing things up and then resolving it using a same commutator. But once you get the concept, just like most of the puzzles, it is very simple to do, and even if you do take into account the process of learning it, I'd say it is still a very easy puzzle. I'd say it's probably the only puzzle out of the WCA ones that I learned to solve by myself. So there we go, that is pretty much it. The Pyraminx in my mind is definitely the easiest WCA event, followed by the Skewb, the clock, 2x2, and of course the 3x3. If you disagree with any of the cubes in this video, definitely leave a comment down below and tell me what you think should be fixed in this video. I would definitely love to hear your opinions, but yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, and I'll see you guys next time.